way too long. It obviously doesn't look great. Curve that just runs. It can't do any harm anyway. Oh, I like that. It's helped reduce the heat. They look better and they're more practical. Welcome everyone to another video on the car, and I want to try and do this as quickly as possible. I've got a few bits in the car, which is something that I covered in my sort of what's coming up video. It's to do with the air ducts, where the fogs are, and a sort of heat wrap thing for the cooling hose. So I'm doing this when I've got some spare time on one of these hottest days, this heat wave that we're having in the UK. Funnily enough, it's to do with heat soak. So hopefully these mods will help with the heat soak. So inside here we've got, you probably can't quite see them, but in here is the like plastic ducting that goes inside of there. We've got the piping, obviously to feed some cold air, hopefully into the right hand side where the air intake is. And this is this like sort of Velcro heat wrap stuff for engine bays and like cooling hoses and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just going to try and fit those two today. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long to do. So let's get the bonnet open. I think I'm going to have to take the headlight out just so I've got more access for the ducting, but I'll take off the air intake so that I can get to the hosing, and yeah, let's get on with it. I'm just going to move the camera around so hopefully you can see this hopefully a little bit better. This is the hose in question, which the air intake obviously is kind of like touching this, and I remember someone saying to me how hot that this pipe can get in regards to, obviously the air intake is basically above it and touching it, so it's getting a lot of heat soak just from this pipe alone. So one of the things I want to try and do is, yeah, use this stuff and see how well it fits on. I'm thinking I'm going to have to unclip this bracket first. I'm just checking. It all seems to feel intact. I can't see any tears or anything up to now. Eventually I would like to get a silicone hose for this, but this was really cheap. I'll put a link into the description as well for where I got this heat sort of wrap from. Right, so let's give it a little clean and see how well this wrap fits. I feel like this is going to be way too long. So I presume I'm going to have to cut it. Yeah, it is huge, so I've got loads to use up for various parts, if I want to use it for various parts, but I'm just going to get a rough idea of where it is, and then I guess I'll just cut it with some scissors. I'm going to do it a little bit longer than I think I'm going to need. So I'm just trying to work out now, how does it work? Okay, it looks a little bit more fiddly than I thought. So I really don't know how good it's going to be, this, but I'll show you how it looks anyway. So it's not the best looking thing, but like I said, it's just for now. I just want to see if I can help reduce the temperatures, and it will be fairly hidden because the air filter goes over the top, but it's yeah, it obviously doesn't look great because the pipe is a slight sort of S-bend, and this thing's quite sort of stiff actually. But at the end of the day, it's to try and keep the heat inside that pipe and not letting it get absorbed into the air intake. So if it does that job, even just a little bit, then it's going to help with performance and you know, the engine with less heat soak, as well as having the air ducts coming in from the fogs. So that's the next thing to do, is let's get these off and we'll see what the air ducts are like. Okay, so nothing that hard when removing these. It's basically just a Phillips screw, but we just remove that. And I had basically, just to sort of black it out a little bit, I'd just done some plastic dip over the old fogs, just because I didn't like that horrible lens on show with the kind of, you know, stealthy look of the car. But yeah, this will be going now, and I'm guessing it just pops out. Unplug it. Now what I'll probably need to do is look at obviously maybe somehow tying this to the inside. Okay, so I think I might take the headlight out on this side just so that I have got more access with doing the ducting, and also checking where I can leave this wire as well. Cool, so now what I can actually do is I can actually get this now, and I can probably cable tie this up out the way. I'll show you where I've cable tied it as well. So hopefully you can see now, this is the cable which I've run next to the washer fluid thing underneath here, and then just cable tied it to another cable there, just so hopefully it doesn't sort of fall down. It keeps it away from any water, because that's quite high up now as well, and it's just underneath the headlight, so hopefully it should keep it fairly well protected. So let's have a look at one of these now, and that's what they look like. So I'll make sure to put a link in the description for where to get these ducts from as well, this kit, and you can actually get the hosing with it that obviously goes from here, that feeds cold air to where you want in the engine bay, but I also got them on eBay, so I'll put a link to the one that I've bought off eBay. I think as you can sort of see, the eyelets in this supposed to be the same as these, so we should be able to basically just put that in place. I don't know if there's a specific way to put it, don't think it massively matters, but before I do that, let's have a look at the ducting. So I think it was 1 meter, which I think is going to go a long way, but I don't think it does go that long of a way. But what I'm hoping is to try and feed it through here and sort of up to somewhere where the air intake will be, so I might have to put that in place actually first. Might put another one on. Right, hopefully that keeps it on. So I'm just going to try and push this through, and I'll try and get the camera to show you. So from here, I've got it going, if you can see it there, underneath the water, and then trying to pass it up through here, and then I think I'm going to get it to about, I don't know if you can quite see, but below this hose. See if I can sort of cable tie it somewhere like here, so hopefully air will get to this sort of area, which is where the cone is. Yeah, I'll just see how that goes. Okay, it's sort of fighting me, so I'm just going to try and get the screws in while I can. It wants to come out. Okay. Wow, that was hard. I didn't bother recording it all because it was a lot of huffing and puffing trying to get that in and actually cut as well. So I'm not sure if you can see it better. I'm not sure if you can see it better here. But so the air now should be flowing to just sort of underneath where the air filter is. So obviously this is being heat wrapped now. The air filter basically sits about where my fist is, about here. So then the cold air should be, if I can tighten it a little bit more to be like that, would be better. But at the moment it's sitting like that. It's just hard to find something to cable tie it to. But at the moment that's the best I can do. If I try and zoom in, I think you can just sort of see it there. It's cable tied to this bracket here, and that's kind of as good as I'm going to get it. And hopefully it's pressed up against, I'm not actually sure what that is, but I've done it so it's not on an edge down there. I'll try and show it underneath as well. So that's from the fog light. So it runs underneath the washer fluid, up against this plastic trim and the, what do you call it, the wheel arch, and then goes up to just underneath the radiator hose there, So, you know, I can readjust it. Let me know what you think. Is that decent enough? Hopefully that's as good as I can sort of get it without. I don't want this to bend too much. So as you can see, there's quite a nice curve that just runs. It's not totally overstressed or, you know, huge kinks in it, so the airflow hopefully should reach up into the air intake itself. At least get some nice cold air flowing through this, because I don't use the fog lights anyway. So yeah, it'd be interesting to sort of see if I've sort of noticed any difference, because at the moment I have noticed with the heat, when I first start the car and I get driving, just because the engine's cold, it actually feels slightly more responsive than compared to after sort of 10 minutes in hot weather and driving. Yeah, you know, you can tell the heat soak, the engine does struggle a little bit. So I'm hoping with those sort of 2 little mods that I've done, it might just, you know, help a little bit with this being heat wrapped to reduce the heat soak coming from the hose, and obviously the air coming through the fog light as well to where the air filter is here. Then, you know, it might help just a little bit. It can't do any harm anyway. It can only do something good rather than make it worse. So now let's put this trim back on, and it should. There we go. I think that looks pretty cool. Oh, I like that. That looks well better than this horrible lamp. Right, so both are fitted. Now I've got to admit I can't remember exactly where I left the video off, just because it has been a while since I've been able to do the rest of this video. But yeah, I fitted the other air duct there. Now the only thing that I haven't done is, if I can get the camera to see in there, which I can't, but basically there's nothing actually there. It's just going to the wheel arch liner, whereas the other side, again, if I can get the camera to, you can see the actual air duct there, which then, see if I can get the camera to pick it up. You can see it down there underneath the car, and then it runs to basically underneath the air intake. Again, quite hard to show you, but yeah, it is there, and it runs basically just underneath, or well, between the it runs between the radiator hose and underneath. Basically, it's like there, underneath there. It's quite hard to see because this is all in the way now, but it's basically there that it kind of points up. So it should be getting some cool air into that, and by this being heat wrapped as well, then it should stop heat dissipating from that, especially to the actual cone, because as you can see, it does actually full on sort of touch that. And actually there's this other cable here. I'm not too sure what that is. I don't even have a clue. It'd be interesting to know in the comments below. Can you let me know what this cable is that runs underneath the air intake along here, and it goes along here? I have no idea what that actually is. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know. So the thing is, since I've got this fitted with the actual proper air intake that does have the ducting that goes underneath here, I've heat wrapped that, and I mean that one at the moment is more for looks. It's just getting cold air into the wheel arch, which is not really doing anything. I can say I haven't done any physical scientific tests apart from physically going out and actually going for a drive. I don't know if it's subconscious, is it a placebo effect? But it does feel like, and we have had a lot of hot weather recently in the UK, and I can say that I don't think it suffered the engine as much as it did prior to the immense heat. And so that's quite interesting, because the thing is, it's been hotter than when I noticed that the car did suffer with heat soak. So I did notice when the car was really fully warm, it wasn't quite as responsive as it was when it was like cold first thing in the morning. So when the heat had built up inside the engine bay, I think you could tell that the car was suffering with heat soak. But since doing these 2 little mods, I don't really notice that drop in kind of punchiness and responsiveness to the engine when I put my foot down, even in the hot weather. So I know I haven't done a scientific test, but I can I feel like I can tell that it has helped reduce the heat in the engine bay, and also helped getting cool air from down below to the air intake. So again, also reducing engine bay temperatures. I mean, one of the other mods that was done on the car, which I've never really fully showed, have I? But the heat wrap manifold, was also done at the same time as the exhaust. So, you know, that should also be helping with reducing a little bit of heat. Sometimes it's controversial with whether to do these or not. I went with it because, you know, I do think that there has to be benefits. The car isn't used, you know, for thousands of miles, so I'm not too worried about, you know, the fact that this will deteriorate and have to replace, because hopefully I shouldn't have to replace this for many years. So hopefully that should also reduce temperatures. But anyway, I'm going to leave the video here. You know, I've shown you how I've sort of tried to reduce the engine bay temps at the moment, and do you know what, even just for the fact that these look cooler, they're well worth it. They look so much better than having the fog lights. I mean, if you are like me, I just generally don't really even use the fog lights, even when it has been foggy weather. I can honestly say they don't really seem to do anything for me, and I don't think you legally need them as well, from when I've been talking to people. So, you know, you only need the rear ones, because some cars don't even come with fog lights at the front anymore anyway. But yeah, I just think they look so much better. It kind of helps with that sort of stealthy look with the car. It's got a little bit more of a racy look, and they're practical. So it ticks both sort of boxes for me. They look better, and they're more practical. So it's a win-win. I'll put a link to the description to these. I actually got them on eBay, but you can also contact the company on Instagram. But I'll put a link anyway to where I bought them from, and the Instagram account as well, to where you can get these. So yeah, go and check them out. And actually, one thing I never mentioned was I went for black inside here, but you can get loads of different colours, loads of funky colours, as well as like your standard sort of colours. You know, people like to sort of have contrasting ones or colour matching for the car. But again, with the stealth, and I've got the gold rings, I just went for black. I'll leave the video there, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully it's been of some use to someone who's looking to reduce engine bay temperatures pretty cheaply as well, actually. It's quite a cheap sort of mod to do. And yeah, I think they look cool. So thanks all for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.